Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are listening to the Cyber Uncut podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is David Hollingworth and I am the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by my colleague Dan Croft. I actually said your name this time rather than used to it. That usual joke we did, I completely forgot. We used to have that gag.
You haven't done it for like all of 2026.
Also, 2026 has been pretty disrupted in terms of you and I actually sitting down to have this chat, so that could well be it.
That could be it.
How's your week been?
Good. Had a debut launch gig for my new band on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And the beginning of the week, we're really worried because of the 180 ticket capacity, we'd sold 24.
Oh.
But then by the time of pre-sale close, we were at 103 and then we sold 47 on the door. So we got to 150 of the 180, which is actually for a first ever show that we're headlining and trying to start our own little mini festival with a large lineup of bands and everything like that.
It's a bold move, I've got to say.
It was, and we risked losing...
Starting up a band in this economy?
Yeah, we risked losing a bit of money on that, like quite a bit of money. But we made the tiniest little sliver if you ignore the photography fee. And then we're only in the red a tiny bit.
It could have been worse, I guess.
I'll take it. It was. We're very, very happy with it. And other than that, it was just what you do on a long weekend, you drink.
Are we allowed? Actually, God, we're drinking right now. Can we say that on pod? He says, taking a sip of beer.
Yeah. Went out Thursday night.
No, it was a bit like that, actually.
Yeah.
A dear friend of mine every year does a thing on Friday called National Day Drinking Day, and that really should tell you everything about the way I recovered for the rest of the long weekend.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Now, you stormed into the office this afternoon and just hammered out a story about Atlassian. I barely know the context for it, so bring me up to speed.
So we've covered Atlassian a couple times in terms of how they've been going with AI becoming a big thing. Not good.
Are you winning, son?
No. They lost 70% of their share price in the last year. Just this year, Mike Cannon-Brookes, the CEO, and the former co-CEO and co-founder Scott Farquhar, together, just themselves, have lost $35 billion. They were both, I believe, in the top 10 richest people in the country.
And now they've slipped into somewhere into the top 50, I imagine.
Yeah.
My heart bleeds.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago I wrote that Cannon-Brookes lost $1 billion overnight.
Careless.
Now, the reason for this is because the stock market is losing faith in traditional software as a service. You know, you've got these AI tools that are getting vibe coded, new AI implementation that is filling that role.
Yeah.
And it's much cheaper. So why bother with software as a service? Well, Atlassian's always kind of stayed quite positive about AI. They keep cutting staff. They did I think the last one was 1,600 cut. And they said that it's because they needed money to invest in AI. They saved 300-something billion, I believe, and they're putting it into AI. And here is what we're seeing first. Now, they've already done some AI implementation before this, but this is them responding, I believe, this is my opinion, to this software as a service apocalypse, the SaaS apocalypse, as people are calling it.
SaaS-pocalypse.
Confluence.
Yep.
I think it's like their main product, I would argue.
I believe so, yeah.
It's getting some AI. So one of the tools Atlassian is introducing is Remix for its AI assistant Rovo. So this will allow users and staffers to use the data that is within Confluence and turn it into visual representation and graphics and things like that. So a spokesperson speaking with The Register, I believe it was, said they can turn static documents, tables, or unstructured data into the format or workflow they need, tailored for the right audience or altitude. I think they meant to say attitude. I did copy that quote directly, so I guess altitude, maybe. I don't know. Without leaving Confluence or opening a ticket. Our data found that Confluence pages with visual elements are nearly 2 times as likely to be read by a wider audience compared to pages without. Now, this spokesperson also said that IT teams will have fewer security risks and tailored requests to deal with, as all the data the AI is using is within Confluence, which is great. And the Register and Atlassian have both noted that this is a lot like what Google's Notebook LM is already doing, where you can turn data into graphic visualizations and things like that. However, Atlassian has referred to Notebook LM as a single-player experience, where Atlassian's...
Oh, no. I already hate everything about this.
Yeah, Atlassian has said that theirs is multiplayer because you can do it kind of like in a live environment with other people.
It's a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
You know what I can't wait for? PvP graph making. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm a competitive Confluence user.
Absolutely.
None of this casual rubbish.
Yeah. What's your kill death ratio in Confluence?
Yeah. The other thing is Atlassian is partnered with a number of companies, including Replit, Gamma, and Lovable, and it's currently inviting others so that Confluence can be used for software production.
Yeah.
Like app production. So it uses, once again, the data within Confluence. And people using Confluence can make apps with that data.
I hear stuff like this, and all I can think of is that one guy in our AV team who every second day in the office, I've just written an app to do this. Have you really written an app? Well, no.
Look,
What's annoying is he's coming up with really good ideas that for now seem to be working.
Yeah. Look, we're both quite skeptical on vibe coding. We've seen it go horribly wrong.
I've another friend. She's a game developer. Hope you're listening. Who we were chatting recently about AI in the workplace and everyday uses of AI, and we're having this quiet conversation about the fact that a lot of our friends are so incredibly anti-AI, and here's both of us quietly discovering the actual good uses for it.
Yeah.
As you and I both know that ChatGPT can be a great tool in the office, especially as a journalist.
Yeah.
As a game dev, she's discovering things like putting all of her code into it and the robot going, you got it wrong here, here, and here, and also this is, you do it better. And she's like, crap, the robot's right.
Look, I don't think either of us have ever said that there aren't good uses for it. That's the thing. Like, it's just, I'm of the opinion that the small number of good uses that it brings are outweighed by the risks and dangers.
Yep.
And, we've talked about the metaphor of it being a hammer, where I think it's the people who are wielding AI that are the problem. Your open AIs. Things like that. If it was put in the right hands, sure, you'd have this hammer build something brilliant.
Rather than smash something down.
Yeah.
I.e. someone's career or job or what have you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or banking as we know it, because JP Morgan,
yes.
How was that for a segue?
That was excellent.
JP Morgan has come out and said that AI is going to be more disruptive to banking than the internet ever was. And now, this could be one of those little age differences that we have is, I grew up with banking being a purely face-to-face experience. I grew up in a pre-ATM age.
Yeah.
And ATMs, when I was a kid, it's like, oh, it's a scary machine in the wall. Huh?
Yeah.
My mum, for instance, never got used to using an ATM.
Yeah.
Watching her use an ATM was just an exercise in anxiety. What AI is going to do to it, I don't know, but apparently JP Morgan does. So what is it going to do?
Pardon me, not burp.
We'll edit that one out.
Yeah.
But the AV team won't.
So JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon has said that AI is critically important and will change almost every aspect of JP Morgan's operations and the industry overall. So he said the importance of AI is real, and while I hesitate to use the word transformational, it is. So he doesn't hesitate to use it that much, does he?
I hesitate to say this, but I will absolutely come out and say it.
Yeah.
But also I get to say, I get what he's saying. I get the feeling that even he's a little bit, I don't want to come out too strong for this, but it's also hard to avoid that it's here to stay.
He says that the pace of adoption will likely be far faster than prior technological transformations, like electricity or the internet. The kind of two big ones
What's
that
next,
come to mind.
sliced bread?
Yeah. He said that these took decades to roll out, but AI implementation is likely to accelerate over the next few years, and he's not wrong.
No, I mean, he's got a really good point there. I mean, and again, at the effort of doing the I'm an old man card, in the early days of the internet, from the first time I started using it to, say, a fully properly linked and illustrated internet was like a decade.
Yeah.
And whereas the acceleration of just chatbots in general seems to have taken place in a year or two.
Well, yeah.
And now it's just everywhere.
You can almost kind of span the internet over my life because I kind of was
It's a really good
born
point, actually. Yeah.
when it was kind of new. It was 1997.
Yeah.
And I remember having dial-up, and I remember, as a kid, and that was just what it was, And then now, the internet, even from then to then, is a different thing. Now, I'm 29 now.
Yeah.
So it's been nearly 3 decades.
Yep.
I mean, it has been 3 decades for the internet. And, but with AI, I've also been around for the entirety of that. And
it does feel like it's moved faster.
And that might have been 6 years, you know. So he's not wrong. He also said that AI will affect virtually every function, application, and process within the company. He's right, and talking about these comments on how it will influence banking, we've seen CBA here, which I feel like we talk about them every week, but
sometimes good. Mostly we're trying to kick them in the shins, but yep.
Yeah, it's like the company I can think of here in Australia that is trying to push for powerful AI implementation. And look, we may see a case of the banking industry being the first to completely transform. Yeah. We've seen that, like going back to the internet, we've seen how banking is transformed more than most industries.
Well, yeah, and we had ATMs change that before that even then. So you've got that moment where the only way you could do your banking was to go into the branch.
Yeah.
And so there'd be a branch in every postcode, if not 2 or 3. There'd be dozens of people working there. In fact, one of my first jobs out of school was doing back office work at National Australia Bank.
Yep.
That doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well now I do all my banking on my phone.
Yep.
Very rarely do I have to go in, and it's seen as a major inconvenience if you have to go in for any reason.
And it's actually
why would you have to do
actually now the nerve-wracking thing because you've got to talk to a real person.
Yeah, what the hell?
It's so strange.
I've been watching The Sopranos, for example, and there was a scene. I'm in season 5, and there's a scene. Very, very thrilling stuff.
Yeah.
Tony gets some bills. And they're all in, because this would have been the early 2000s, late 90s, and he gets them in envelopes. And I remember that's exactly how it was done with my parents.
Yep.
And I remember sitting there last night watching this episode and thinking, because I never learned how to pay bills like that. I was a tiny little kid then. Do you mail them cash in?
You'd go into the post office with your bill for the electricity company, and you'd pay it either with cash or a credit card. Yeah.
Interesting, because I was like, is it like a return envelope where you mail it back? Do you have to go into the bank?
I'm just imagining you holding up a paper bill and trying to tap your card onto it.
No, I'm not that bad. But yeah, I remember just being like, that's just not the world I was exposed to.
Yeah.
And it seems like the banking industry often is one that changes quickly and dramatically. AI is going to be no exception.
Yeah.
He also talks about the risks of AI. He's not completely alien to that. He goes, AI will definitely eliminate some jobs while it enhances others. Our firm will have definitive plans on how we can support and redeploy our affected workforce. AI will create many jobs, some we can see today in cybersecurity and AI itself, and some we can't see.
Yeah.
But we do know that there is a huge workforce shortage for many well-paying white and blue-collar jobs. He also talked about the risks of deepfakes and other things. Like, he's not alien to these concerns.
He's clear-eyed. He sounds very clear-eyed on both the promise and risk of the technology.
But I believe it was him who did say that the benefits seem to outweigh the risks. Which, if you've got a lot of money riding on AI, you typically do.
Would say that, yeah. Look, come to me when we bring in a 4-day week because of the extra productivity that AI gives us.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, on that highly socialist note, we're going to go away for a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Cyber Uncut podcast. I'm David, he's Dan, and now we're talking cybers, but not so much cyber crime to begin with. We're talking cyber hacktivism.
Yes.
So, as we all know, there's a little conflict going on in Iran.
Yeah, guess where it is.
The leader of the free world is a raving lunatic, and despite his promises of
we're very objective on this podcast.
Look, he's a raving lunatic, and you can at me whenever you want. Despite him promising to pretty much end the Iranian civilization.
Yeah, that is a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, but we're now in a ceasefire. Thank heck.
I thought it ended like pretty much straight away because Iran was annoyed by Israeli strikes on Lebanon.
Well, I mean, That is a sore point. In fact, it's a sore point for a lot of people, the fact that Israel doesn't think Lebanon is a part of the ceasefire, and it could well look.
And the straits
every
closed
time
again.
you read an article about this, it's the fragile ceasefire. And in fact, I'm in the middle of writing an article about exactly this right now, and
Yep.
it's the fragile ceasefire. But the main issue is that while the missile and drone strikes may have stopped for now, the cyber attacks have not
No.
at all. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the FBI and a few other U.S. Law enforcement outfits have basically warned all U.S. critical infrastructure operators that Iranian-linked hackers are going after critical infrastructure in the energy and water sectors.
Well, they would be because, the US has threatened countless times that they're going to go and kinetically attack.
Also,
Those
sidebar,
places in Iran.
if I never hear either Trump or Hegseth say they've decimated the Iranian military ever again, I'm sure they do not mean we've killed 1 in every 10, because that's the actual meaning of decimation. It goes back to the Roman military, and I'm just going to leave that right. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah.
Regardless, the conflict has not ended on the cyber front, because these hackers, what they're doing with the critical infrastructure is they're going after what's called programmable logic controllers. Basically, all the stuff that controls what happens inside your water treatment plant or your and this is hardware that traditionally has not been connected to the internet. If you're inside that hardware's software, it means you're meant to be there. But now everything's internet connected.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know the engineering, if you know the software, if you know the pathways, it's pretty easy to get into. And once you're in there, you can do all kinds of untold damage, both physical and harvest all kinds of data. And it's just pretty iffy stuff.
You're talking about water desalination, which is very, very
Exactly.
relevant in the region.
Yeah,
Is it Kuwait that does pretty much all water desalination?
Look, without water desalination, none of the Gulf states exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, you can open valves to cause water wastage. You can change, I guess, pH properties. I don't know. I'm not
We're not
an
critical
expert.
infrastructure operators.
But you could do things that make the water you can't drink it.
Yeah,
It's completely
even without
unhandleable.
performing a successful attack, the very risk of an attack can make people like you and I worried about it. It can force companies to spend more money on security just to stop what might happen. So it becomes a remarkably disruptive thing.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, you've got outfits like Handala, we've talked about those guys before, who the more we learn about them, they seem to be quite directly linked to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, who are absolutely rabid fighters who, funnily enough, don't care if their regime's been toppled. These guys are going to fight on. And these guys are the cyber equivalent. These are the ones who managed to hack the personal email of Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, after Kash Patel went ham on them after taking down just 2 of their websites.
Proud reader of us, apparently, as well. We found out.
We have found out. Yes. Yep. Okay. We go there. They've said that now they are. In fact, I can find the quote because it's just absolutely hardcore. The cyber war did not begin with the military conflict, and it will not end with any military ceasefire. Our cyber jihad is the extension of our martyrs' blood, and will go on until full vengeance is achieved. So they're taking the ceasefire, quite seriously. They're taking it to heart. They have said that they're going to slow down a little, but I love this. They've said that they'll stop. But the hack of the FBI director was just a glimpse of our power. For us, no land is too distant, and no network is truly secure. Rest assured, when the time comes, the darkest of nights will have only just begun for America and all its supporters. Yeah. I mean, they're peaceful. They're happy. They think the war's over. No. And look, there's a whole mess of outfits that are still targeting Western entities because of whether direct links to the US and Israel or perceived links to the US and Israel. Pro-Islam group Conqueror's Electronic Army has gone after a whole mess of targets in Israel. A group calling itself the 313 team has apparently attacked an Australian government portal, which I hadn't heard about, but they have. And you've got CISO warning of Iranian hackers going after water treatment plants and so on. It's just the ceasefire doesn't matter in cyberspace at all. And I just think it's an important thing to talk about, especially as the ceasefire is, as we said, a very fragile one.
Yeah. With not clearly defined terms in certain areas.
Yeah. And you look at the various 10-point peace plans, and some of them are oh, that seems reasonable, and some of them are, wait, Iran wants to retain the right to enrich uranium and control the Strait of Hormuz. doesn't that leave us exactly where we were when the war began?
Yeah, but we did it.
We decimated them. Also, we have to worry about North Korean hackers. There is, for a while now, we've been seeing code repositories, code packages compromised so that once this code package, which is probably used by hundreds, thousands, millions of developers around the world, you download a package of code because it's a bit easier than writing your own, you use it, it spreads. If you put something malicious in there, that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Turns out that North Korean hackers are doing exactly that. So there's a lot of state-based activity going on right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like it was only recently we were talking about North Korean employees. Well, posing as employees for local business. No, we spoke about this on the CISO brief, so you weren't there for that. But
do tell.
I believe you wrote the story.
I probably did.
Well, just we saw this kind of wave of North Korean-based operatives applying for Aussie jobs.
Yeah, they're applying for jobs all around the world.
Yeah, yes, but for the context of Australia,
they're coming for our jobs, but just not in the way that some
not
people
for
say
the
they
money.
are.
Well, not for that money.
Not for that money, but they are coming for the money because the money's being funneled back into North Korea weapon programs.
Yeah.
It's some days I just can't keep up with the job that we do.
Yeah, it's just very funny. North Korea working really, really hard so they can pay for their nukes.
Yeah. I mean, look. Everybody just wants one nuke, one or two nukes. That's
it's a living.
All we want. Yeah. I mean, I always love saying this. The Australian Signals Directorate's Australian Cybersecurity Centre. Exactly. Deep breath. So this was after we recorded last week's podcast, actually. They sent out a High Alert Act Quickly advisory regarding exactly this. Although they didn't name North Korea, but it's read between the lines, it's pretty clear. This updated alert is relevant to all Australians and Australian organisations, including organisation leaders that maintain online code repositories, we're back to the code thing, that publish software packages or use third-party packages or software sourced from online repositories. That basically the hackers are inside the code already.
Yeah.
So anything you download from GitHub or NPM or any other package provider, there could be something compromised in there. So you just need to be really, really careful with everything you download. Like, I think that's something that any network defender, any CISO in particular, needs to be absolutely aware of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's inside the perimeter already.
Yeah.
Moving right along, though.
Yeah.
Let's have a Toy Story.
Yeah. Well, that was very good.
I'm on fire today.
Hasbro. Who you've probably heard of. They do Wizards of the Coast, so that's your D&D.
They're coming for D&D.
Magic the Gathering.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
No. I am a big Magic the Gathering fan, so no. Your Transformers, Peppa Pig, much more. They confirmed a cyber incident to the US SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission.
That'd be a Form 8K filing, I
imagine. It would be a Form 8K filing, yes. So it revealed that it detected unauthorized access on March 28th, and that as a result, it disabled some of its systems to control the incident. So Hasbro wrote, upon discovery, the company promptly activated its security incident response protocols, implemented containment measures, including proactively taking certain systems offline, and launched an investigation with the assistance of third-party cybersecurity professionals. The company's investigation is ongoing, and it is working diligently to resolve the matter and determine the full scope of the impact. The company has implemented and continues to implement business continuity plans to enable it to continue to take orders, ship products, and conduct other key operations while it resolves this situation. The need to run these interim measures may continue for several weeks before the situation is fully resolved and may result in some delays. So the company also said it's looking at investigating as to what data was impacted, who it belongs to, and so that the people affected can be
that
notified.
kind of forensics work is
long
hard.
and difficult. Yeah. So Cyber Daily, we haven't seen anyone claim responsibility for this, and the actual nature of this is unknown. We don't know if it's a ransomware incident or what it is. So speaking with us, though, Trevor Deering, the Director of Critical Infrastructure Solutions at Illumio, said that despite the incident, it was good. Hasbro's response was good, and they were obviously prepared for the worst. So he said, it's really positive to see that Hasbro had business continuity plans in place, allowing the business to keep running even when systems are taken offline. Last year, we saw the significant impact on the retail industry when businesses have halted operations. Unlike many organizations, Hasbro has shown that having the right protocols and preparations in place means that a cyber incident doesn't have to be a disaster. Immediately, I think of your co-op, your M&S.
Yeah.
Which was it? Jaguar Land Rover was the big one as well,
Yep.
where, they had to get the government to bail them out.
Yeah,
Because-
and an attack that caused a loss in GDP. I mean,
Yeah, they're the biggest automotive producer in the entirety of the UK.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people not being able to work. That's
And
a lot of
Hasbro
people.
ain't a small outfit either.
No,
But-
Hasbro are huge.
Yeah.
So
Their production lines probably aren't quite so complex. And
No.
it sounds like this might have been more data than infrastructure impact, but nonetheless, they were ready for it.
Yeah,
And you
which-
made it Illumio is absolutely correct there. That they had a plan, they executed it.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really cool.
It does make me think of a conversation of yours I overheard today, and we won't talk about the company. Just one of those instances where or Dan more accurately, is tracking down, trying to talk to a company about the fact that a ransomware actor has claimed that they've been hacked. And this company, the conversation seemed painful from my end.
Well, it went for 10 minutes. Most of our conversations usually go on the phone. Our initial conversations might go for 2.
Yeah.
So if it's any longer than that, it's gone weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you explained what Cyber Daily was about 3 or 4 times. And
Yeah,
they couldn't understand that there was a news website that does cybersecurity, which I take personally. Everyone should know about Cyber
Yeah,
Daily.
exactly. We're famous.
Obviously. We're internet famous.
Yeah. It was a difficult conversation. I had to, and actually this bit I don't really want to critique. This bit's good. I had to verify who I was.
It's always, I did
which
hear that, and
was-
I've had to do that myself. And I do not.
I have no issue with
Yeah,
that at all.
yeah,
They're
absolutely.
like, what's your phone number? Where can I find your work? Things like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely happy to answer all those questions. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I did answer many.
Yeah. So,
And then
I
it
mean,
got to the point where they seemed they didn't really care. They were like, "Oh, they're not in. We just, call
yeah,
another
I mean,
time."
we've both spoken to the victims of cyber attacks, where we've tried to go out of our way to say, "Hey, we're here to let you have a voice."
Yeah, exactly.
You need to be a part of this conversation. You've just been mugged.
Yeah.
We want to talk about stuff.
Currently, the only info publicly available belongs to the criminal.
Criminals. Yeah.
So let's take your word
Yeah,
over theirs.
yeah.
And a
it's
lot of the time they say, nah.
It's interesting that you bring up the fact that you don't hold it against them for trying to verify your identity. There's another hack I was covering this week where the Anubis ransomware group was involved. And
Anubis?
Anubis.
I thought it was Anubis.
Anubis?
Yeah. Isn't that how Anubis is spelled?
Don't Egypt shame me, okay? Anyway, those guys, we know that they are experts at manipulating the media as well. To
Yeah,
their
they
own
are.
ends. They will reach out to the media and go, "Hey, do you want the inside
Yeah,
track on who we're
will.
hacking?"
They are dastardly.
Absolutely, I hate those guys. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like there are ransomware actors that I'm a fan of. Those guys are cool. I'd love to work for them one day. No, but there are guys you hate, and then there are guys you really, really hate, and Anubis is absolutely one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't blame companies for wanting to verify that we're not part of the problem.
Yeah, I've been accused of it without the chance to verify before, and that's not fun, but it doesn't happen too often,
No.
which is good.
Yeah, but it's kind of smart. I do appreciate it. And on that note, we're going to go away for another very, 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 very small break, and we'll be right back with some actual good news. And it's about North Korea.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. No.
No, we're not. We've gone.
No.
We will be back.
We're back to discussing North Korea. Yes.
Excellent. I'm sure that won't be confusing for our listeners at all. We shall chat soon. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. Hopefully you've gotten over the confusion of that last segment.
Yeah.
I think we have.
Yeah.
And as we said, we are back to North Korea, but with good news about North Korea this time.
And going back to North Korean workers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the United States Department of State, which is always a weird sentence to say, has announced a partnership with the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade to crack down on fake IT workers from North Korea.
Yippee.
Yeah, and this is a yarn from Rob Doherty, one of our mates on Defence Connect, and like we said, it's good news. Here's what the U.S. Department of State had to say: DPRK IT workers employ increasingly deceptive tactics, including the use of fabricated identities, fraudulent credentials, and AI-generated personas to secure remote employment. Once hired, they may access sensitive corporate systems, steal intellectual property, and extort their employers. I mean, this is stuff we've talked about at length today and in countless other podcasts.
Yeah.
So, the US Department of State and the FBI have announced rewards for information that leads to the disruption of financial mechanisms of persons engaged in activities that support North Korea. The Australian Sanctions Office has gotten behind this as well. And it's just good to see some level of positive cooperation between Australia and the US at the moment. Given
everything else.
I just because this is a really interesting cross-border problem because it's something that we're both facing.
Just to put into context how damaging this is.
Yeah.
So the Multilateral Sanctions Monitoring Team estimated in October 2025 that North Korean cyber actors and IT workers have stolen $2.8 billion in crypto since January 2024 and earned an estimated 350 to 800 million in revenue in 2024. And again, all of this, as we said, is going to the Democratic Republic of North Korea, DPRK.
That's the one?
Yep.
Democratic People's Republic of North Korea.
People's Republic, that's it. I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
Is going to...
it's none of those things. I mean, no.
Yeah.
It's not democratic. It's not a republic.
It's not for the people.
Yeah.
It's North Korea. It's not Korea.
It is Korea.
Yeah, it is Korea.
But it's only part of it. But they say it's all of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at there.
Remember, that war isn't over. It's still a ceasefire.
Yeah, it is. It's all going to their manufacture of weapons of mass destruction, ballistic missiles, and all of which is in violation of UN Security Council sanctions, which seems to happen a lot.
Yeah. Now, we say it's good news, but also it's not exactly a non-trivial problem to fix either.
Yeah.
But work's being done, and we say bravo to our friends in the US and Australian governments.
Yep, bravo.
Yep. Before we do sign off, I had a chat with one of our crisis comms friends yesterday.
Yes.
And they were very amused at our last podcast where we were talking about injunctions and crisis comms and that thing. They very much enjoyed the pod. So if you're listening, thank you. We appreciate it.
Shout out.
Yeah, nice shout out. And on that note, we shall sign off and we'll be back again next week. If you want to read more of what Dan and I do, you can find us on Cyber Daily. You can find Dan on AI Daily. Occasionally we both pop up on Australian Aviation and on Defence Connect as well. So check those out also. For now, though, sign up to our newsletters so you can get us in your inbox each morning. And we'll chat next week.
All right. See you later.
Bye.